You may all be seated. Honorable members, welcome, and thank you for your indulgence. I now, at this stage, want to request the Secretary to read the next order.
Vote 13, Cultural Affairs and Sports, Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill.
I recognize the Minister.
Binne 'n haaglike fiskale omgewing op 'n konstruktiewe manier bespreek. My dank aan minister David Meyer, die provinsiale tesouriespan, my kabinetskollegas en die departement kultuursake en sport se uitvoerende bestuurspan en amptenare vir die begrip wat hulle getoon het vir die waarde van kulturele aangeleenthede en sport, om nie net 'n eensverdeelde nasie te herbou nie, maar om aan almal wat die Weskaap as hul tuiste beskou, 'n gevoel van samehorigheid te bied en om hoop te inspireer in 'n nasionale klimaat waar die meerderheid mense voel dat hulle deur die nasionale ANC-regering in die steek gelaat is. Speaker, the National Minister of Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture once noted, to which I agree, and I quote, "It is important to note and acknowledge the glaring reality that South Africa's freedom would remain hollow for majority of the population, predominantly black, if they remain on the fringes of the economy," unquote. Yet, Speaker, the majority of the population who are vulnerable and previously disadvantaged are further pushed into despair and blocked from opportunities by allowing taxpayers' money to instead fund maladministration, mismanagement, state capture, SAA and Eskom bailouts and resort. Speaker, I have witnessed firsthand how Western Cape athletes and creatives, mostly youth, have been locked out of national opportunities as a consequence or sacrifice of political grandstanding. This is absolutely unacceptable, as our youth are still dying in townships, on the flats and in our remote rural areas as a result of hopelessness caused by national nonchalance. Kaapstad is die trotse gasheerstad vir die 2023 Wêreldbeker netbal toernooi. Ons vertrou die stad gaan hoop en eenheid inspireer en 'n instaatstellende omgewing vir konstruktiewe geleenthede skep. Daar is R779 000 aan die stad Kaapstad herbewillig om netbalinfrastruktuur in die streek uit te bou en deelname, talentidentifisering en vaardigheidsontwikkeling in die kode volhoubaar te maak. Dit gaan ook veilige ruimte skep en meer lewensveranderde geleenthede bied. Speaker, die gebruik van sport en kultuursake as hulpmiddels om ons burgers van veilige ruimtes te voorsien en geleenthede vir selfbemagtiging en sosiale inklusiwiteit te skep, staan sentraal tot ons werksaamhede by die Weskaapse Departement van Kultuursake en Sport. Ons het groot vordering gemaak met die skep van 'n bemagtigende omgewing waarin ons kiesers holisties kan floreer. Met ons beperkte jaarlikse begroting het ons belegging in die jeug geprioritiseer deur toegang tot en deelname aan kultuursake en sport te verhoog, deur organisasies te befonds, meer platforms vir talent tentoonstellings te skep en deur nuwe innoverende vennootskappe met ander te smee ten einde verseker dat groter geleenthede materialiseer. Daarom het ons ongeveer 10,2 miljoen na die departement van die premier verskuif vir ondernemingsinhoudbestuur of die ECM. Critical thinking, consciousness and a sense of belonging contribute to rebuilding a fractured nation and identity. At the department, we are committed to changing mindsets to offer positive alternatives to already negative circumstances and unsafe spaces. Each day, a greater amount of national funds is announced as stolen, misused, mismanaged, and privately pocketed by ANC heavyweights. This angers and frustrates us, the Western Cape government, and our enabling partners, as we too often receive what has now become the default response from the national government, that there are no funds available to optimize on our already functional and successful programs which lives are changed and communities uplifted through the work we do at DCAS in the Western Cape. The arts, sport and culture affairs allow people how to think, not what to think. Thus, the work of the department is serious business, often misinterpreted as simple fun and a time passerby, when in fact it is a fundamental branch of government. It is concerned with the well-being of the mind. And Speaker, if the minds of our people are not equipped in our diversity and constructively empowered, it is less likely that they will take up the opportunities rightfully to be availed to them. Culture affairs and sport challenge, dismantle, and disrupts the idea that because we are different, we cannot be together. We have made incredible progress in promoting the beauty and power in our diversity and will continue to show in all real terms that the ANC's propaganda has polluted the minds of our people for far too long with no sustainable solutions to living lives free from fear in which hard work and dedication bring success and children grow up healthy and prepared for tomorrow's economy. In contrast, Speaker, key to our efforts at the department is the creation of an enabling environment in which all who call the Western Cape home feel a sense of identity, belonging, united and most importantly safe. There have been significant developments in the province's commitment to identify, conserve, protect, manage and promote the heritage resources in the Western Cape so that we are aware of our cultural historical landscape. We therefore allocated an additional 506,000 for maintenance at our provincial museums to assist with the transformation of our heritage landscape in documenting where we come from and advocating for the significance of our regional beginnings as a diverse people. With the ANC constantly allowing taxpayers' money to enrich the already rich, it is not failing state-owned enterprises. Our officials are placed under severe pressure and are less capacitated as salaries do not remunerate the sacrifice, hard work and selfless contribution to nation building. Speaker, 6.1 million was reappropriated and translated to surrender compensation of employees to Provincial Revenue Fund for fiscal consolidation. Our staff have become despondent as very little financial growth is available in this very difficult economic environment. Speaker, it is clear that our Western Cape residents are speaking and are more vocal about their grievances because they have been accustomed to a transparent, responsible and capable provincial government. The Western Cape government promotes diversity and will ensure vigorous public participation processes in which all interested voices will be heard, considered and democratically implemented. Honourable Barnes, Maree, Kama, Windvogel and Keiko. Our people deserve freedom, fairness and opportunity. How better to honour Tata Madiba by proactively building the all-inclusive nation he once was prepared to die for. The Western Cape government, under the visionary leadership of Premier Alan Windey, firmly believes that innovation is always on the agenda, and I look forward to collaboratively embracing new ideas and always doing the right thing with competent integrity, always mindful of the people we serve. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, after this vote, we will take a break for lunch. So there will not be another vote immediately. There will be lunch break and then we'll come back. I thought I just need to mention that to the honourable members. I now recognize Honourable Barnes.
Enkosi Somlo. Enkosi Somlo. Kuyacaca ba ubukho bam noko kuyavakala xa neopposition ishukuma xa ndiphakama. Somlomo mandithathele ithuba kokuqala kakuhle. Saqala kakuhle namhlanje ngomama ondiphethe umama uMare. Mandithe enkosi kuye kwi-sitting yokugqibela apha ndifike ndiphethe emotion enehlazo le department yethu. Mandibulele mama uMare ngomsebenzi owenzileyo, ndivile into ba ushukumile kwenzekile. Noko asisahlelanga kulanda obesikuyo ba singakwazi ukukhupha inhloko zethu phandle ngenxa yentloli ezenzeka kwi-department yethu. Speaker, on the 5th of July 2019, the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sports launched the Case for Sport Research report. In the launch, MEC said the following, I quote, "There is no doubt in my mind that those seasoned in the Western Cape Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport, DCAS, portfolio can agree that there exists a disconnect between the positive impact of sport and the budget often allocated to its programs. This comprehensive research now physically motivates for increased support, not only for sport and recreation, but also cultural affairs as well. I hope to enter into the budget adjustment period saying less this year and simply presenting Provincial Treasury with our case for sport in a bid for greater financial backing based on empirical information, academic substantiation, and expert advice from custodians in the field," close quote. As we have entered the budget adjustment period, the Provincial Treasury response was a 25.8 million decrease of the department budget, whereas it was not what Minister have committed to in her speech. Speaker, all programs budget cuts were cut except for Program 4, Sport and Recreation. The budget for Program 1, Administration, was decreased by 1.9 million. For Program 2, Cultural Affairs, the decrease was 677,000. And for Program 3, Library Services, the decrease was 23.5 million. Too much to decrease in one department. Under Program 4, Sport and Recreation's budgets for sub-program 4.4 Sport and sub-program 4.5 mod program have both been decreased. The budget cuts for school sports and mod programs are totally unacceptable. At the height of gangsterism in the province, and especially in the rural areas at school, disorder is the order of the day. These sub-programs help to keep children busy and off the streets always. Given the importance of these two sub-programs, there can never be any sound reason to justify these budget cuts. What we need is additional budget so that we could be able to expand the mod program to rural and farming communities where it is needed the most. Time does not permit me to talk the challenges that should be fixed in these sub-programs, like the lack of synergy on cooperation between schools and federations to improve schools' sports. SAFA in the Western Cape is not given any role to play in sports school. This does not make any sense because talented boys in the school sports should be scouted and be recruited in teams for playing for SAFA leagues. Talent is dying undiscovered. Speaker, the MEC needs to tell us what is the Provincial Treasury's response to the department when it's presented the case for sport. The department has invested millions into 2 phases of research, and our members of this legislature is to ensure full implementation of the study's recommendation. And for this to happen, the Provincial Treasury needs to come to the party and make funds available for the case sport. I don't want to say the MEC misled the public when she said during the budget adjustment period she would ask for additional funds. I think the MEC has good intention for this department. However, as a female MEC, in the cabinet boss Barat, her soprano becomes minority in the base of the man-dominated boss Barat. Through these adjustment estimates, the department and the Provincial Treasury have missed the window opportunity to accelerate increased support for strategic objectives achieved through sport. When we raised these issues in the committee, we were promised that our concerns would be addressed in the main budget. Speaker, the 17.7 million surrendered to the Provincial Revenue Fund could have assisted a great deal in the case for sport study. In 2023, we will be hosting the Netball World Cup. We need to accelerate the program of building netball courts in all communities so that we can get more netball players for the future, as well as to get more courts where different countries can train. In this regard, I want to cautiously welcome the additional 779 to build more tennis courts in the city of Cape Town. However, the city should not only be the first to receive and the only, with many municipalities set to benefit in the future. The city of Cape Town can never be interpreted to be the city of the province receiving all of the funds. We should ensure that all regions are being included. Speaker, year in and year out of the budget sub-program 3.3 is always decreased during this period of budget adjustment, so I've noted. I want to propose that in the future, we allocate this program only 20 million, for this is the figure it has been spending over the past couple of years. The decrease in the budget allocation for library services should be rejected and condemned. It is really unacceptable to shift funds away while not all townships have libraries. Not all rural communities have access to libraries. In conclusion, investing in the department can keep clinics, hospitals, and prisons empty. Hoe kom moet ons dan nou net beplan om elke keer van 'n safety plan te praat terwyl ons dit kan voorkom? Baie dankie, Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Barnes. Honorable members, I now recognize Honorable Allen.
Honorable Speaker, the aim of the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport under the capable leadership of Minister Anru Maree is to encourage excellence and inclusiveness in sport and culture through smart use of our resources and through creative partnerships and funding. The department continues to set the standard in terms of moving towards excellence in making this province the sports and cultural center of South Africa by creating the conditions for access and mass participation, talent identification, and skills development. With this, Speaker, allow me to briefly highlight the most significant adjustments. The shifting of 779,000 to the City of Cape Town to build netball courts. I may have heard tennis courts earlier on, but it's netball courts within the region, as we believe this sport has done exceptionally well and will play a role in further amplifying the inclusion of women and communities. Also, the allocation of 506,000 for maintenance at provincial museums, as the DA-led provincial government values the importance of the preservation of our history and cultures. Also, Speaker, the rollover of 769,000 towards computer equipment as part of the Rural Library Connectivity Project, as we recognize the importance of technology and literacy play in developing and giving access to valuable information. It is thus a pleasure for me to stand here today in support of Vote 13. The Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport has gone beyond their call of duty in ensuring that opportunities are being made available to the people of this province. Speaker, cultural affairs and sport play a crucial role in building the social fabric of our communities and our country at large. While the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport continue to play their role in shaping our next generation, it is simply not enough to fight the scourge of violence and the state of dysfunctionality in some of our communities. It would be remiss not to consider the effect of our failed state-owned enterprises and ANC corruption as it continues in this province. Instead of investing more in this country's talent, the ANC would rather rush to push to preserve failed entities and in turn their own lavish lifestyles. Despite this, Speaker, the DA-led Western Cape government excels even in the face of unprovoked ANC politicking at the national level. We know that the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport has a pivotal role to play in facilitating community conversations, promoting culture, heritage, libraries, archives and language, and using sport and recreation to advance social cohesion. Under the DA government, we have utilized our resources to the best of our ability to work towards that vision. Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every member of the Standing Committee, as well as the Department for their rigorous engagements that have taken place since the beginning of the 6th Parliament. Also, a special welcome to our Procedural Officer, Mr. Wasim Matthews, for his help and dedication, as well as Mary Ann Burgess, our assistant. I would also like to express a vote of thanks to the members of the public for their meaningful contributions towards the work of this Parliament. We value the role that the members of the public play in our oversight process. Honourable Speaker, the Democratic Alliance supports this vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Allen. Honourable members, with the absence of EFF, I now recognize Honourable Heron.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, the problem with this adjustment vote or proposed vote is the precedent and the starting gate that it gives this department in terms of this draft safety plan working document, where the Minister must be responsible for the coordination of youth in service programs, which will be scaled up to increase opportunities for unemployed youth aged 18 to 24, and there will be additional after-school programs targeted to reach at-risk youth who currently do not attend these programs to reduce antisocial behaviour and school dropouts. Yet the department is starting out the 2019 to 2024 provincial program with a decrease of 26 million rand. Similarly, experiencing the similar cuts that education and social development are experiencing. So we are starting out cutting those departments that are meant to address the root causes of crime, whilst at the same time promising that they will be doing exactly that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Heron. I now recognize Honourable Christians.
Thank you, Speaker. I want to agree with the Minister. We cannot undermine the power of sport and culture. We cannot undermine the power. We saw what it did in the Rugby World Cup. And so it's very important, and we must never look at it as a minor department. So, Minister, just to explain the money that's going to the City of Cape Town for the netball court, 779 million. Why only to Cape Town? Because Stellenbosch is quite close by. Stellenbosch and Paarl is quite close by. And Stellenbosch is one of the hubs of netball. So I just want to know, why is it only limited to the City of Cape Town? And also, I mean, our national team is doing exceptionally well. They, last when I checked, they were 4th in the world. So rugby can do a lot. So when we speak about safe spaces, we can also move out the safe spaces to Drakenstein and to Stellenbosch, the near areas. I'm not talking about far-reaching areas, near areas, so also to give those people a boost. Another important thing also, Minister, I would have also wanted to see money be also allocated more to the MOT centres. Because we can also then hype this netball and other opportunities for our youth. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Christians. I now recognize Honourable Murray.
Thank you, Speaker. I won't waste time. I just want to say that now that the traditional leaders and Khoisan bill has been passed and signed by the President, how are they going to accommodate those extra costs? Have you engaged with the National Department? Who's going to pay for all these scores of chiefs who've now come to the fore? And
Order, honourable members. Honourable Murray, please.
I think it's time that we get serious in this house. It's okay to laugh, but the people out there, they don't laugh, they're angry. And we must see whether we budget here for what government at national level has already approved. The second thing is, Minister, please, the Delft community and Bishop Levers begged me for soccer posts. I got quotes for a set of soccer posts. It is 20,000 rand. You can find that money. They erected themselves. Let them have a nice Christmas practicing and playing soccer. Let us not dabble in things that's unimportant. Please, when you reply to me, tell me you've got the money to pay for 20,000 rand for the post. Thank you.
Thank you, honourable members. I now recognize the Minister.
Baie dankie vir elkeen se inset. Ek gaan eerstens net oor die algemeen antwoord. Die stad Kaapstad is die stad wat die netbaltoernooi aanbied. En daarom het die internasionale federasie vir netbal hulle geallokeer, fondse geallokeer, en ons het dit nie geprioritiseer nie, ons het dit goed gedink om nou vir hulle daai fondse te gee vir infrastruktuur reg te kry. Maar ons het fondse geprioritiseer oor die hele provinsie. En ons het reeds netbalbane gebou in Mosselbaai, in Hermanus, Bredasdorp en dan ook in die Weskus. So ons het reeds begin en dit is nie net vir die stad alleenlik nie. Dan wil ek sê dankie vir agbare baans. SAFA het 'n voorlegging by die Minmek kom doen, so ek kan tweet later terugvoer gee daaroor. Want dit is vir ons 'n uitdaging oor wat presies in SAFA se geleedere aangaan. En Regan, baie dankie vir jou konstruktiewe leiding. Honorable Regan, sorry, vir jou konstruktiewe leiding. Honorable Heeren, all our stakeholders, NGOs and private partnerships is helping us with this, with the safety plan and all that we want to impact on our communities. So it's not only provincial funding, it's our good relationships with these stakeholders that helps us. And then, in Drakensberg, agbare Christians, het ons die WOSA-program. So ons is ook daar besig om die gemeenskap veilig te kry of te maak en dit is reeds aan die gang. En dan wil ek net sê dankie aan die staande komitee vir 'n goeie jaar, vir 'n konstruktiewe jaar, vir die positiewe insette in die manier waarop julle en ons saam kon werk. En dan wil ek ook net sê vir elkeen 'n baie geseënde seisoen en koester mekaar in hierdie tyd. Baie dankie.
Thank you. Thank you, honorable members. Siyabule. Baie
On a
dankie.
point of order.
Minister, you still have time. You wanted to say something.
I did have a discussion with Honorable Marie about Delft, and I promised not for now, we don't have the money for now, but we will have the discussion in the new year. And I've already promised him that.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, order, honorable members. We are now going to go for lunch. As you are all aware, I've invited each of you individually, honorable members, for lunch, which is the end of the year lunch for this chamber. And on that note, now the House is adjourned for now until after lunchtime. We'll reconvene at 2:15. You want 2 o'clock? We have enough time, so we'll convene at 2 o'clock. Thank you.